On this night, the night of the wafat of Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam, we sorely miss and remember Musa Bhai. The saddest of news was the news that we received that we had lost a pillar. On this night, the night of the wafat of Sayyidah Zainab, a man who'd always be the first to come towards the Majalis, we sorely miss the first in the line of Salah, an example for both. The saddest of news was the news that we received that we had lost a pillar. On this night, the night of the wafat of Sayyidah Zainab, a man who'd always be the first to On this night, the night of the wafat of Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam, we sorely miss and remember Musa Bhai. The saddest of news was the news that we received that we had lost a pillar in our community. A man who'd always be the first to come towards the Majalis of Ahlul Bayt, the first in the line of Salah, an example for both young and old, and how to be serious but humorous at the same time, how to have a wonderful balance in serving Ahlul Bayt salawatullah wa salamuhu alayhim, as well as being a loving father and a loving family member. He died, but he had looked after so many who had died. Kafan, ghusl, was integral in his service to the community. The first to come to the mosque, be it rain, be it sunshine, be it the worst conditions, be it the best conditions, and always ready to talk with anyone young and old. He was truly an example for all of us. A person who was a mainstay of the Shia community for many years, helping people get to Majalis and Muharram, sitting with them, sharing stories with both the young and the old. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless your soul, Musa Bhai. And may He raise you with the one you love, Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam. And may you receive her shafa'ah on the Day of Judgment. Rahim Allah man qara'a Surat al-Fatiha.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Thank you all for joining us tonight for this program in memory of my late father-in-law, Musa Lalji Ravji. We shall start proceedings now with the Hadith Kisa from Abdul Hussain Bhai Manekia. So please, if I can ask Abdul Hussain Bhai to start. Thank you.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. But before we start, let us all recite Surah Al-Fatiha in memory of Musa Bhai. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. عن جابر بن عبد الله الأنصاري أنه قال عن فاطمة الزهراء عليها السلام بنت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله قال سمعت فاطمة أنها قالت دخل علي أبي رسول الله في بعض الأيام فقال السلام عليك يا فاطمة، فقلت عليك السلام. قال إني أجد في بدني ضعفا، فقلت له أعوذك بالله يا أبتاه من الضعف. فقال يا فاطمة ائتيني بالكساء اليماني فغطيني به، فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به، وسرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلأله كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله. فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسن قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه، وقلت عليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جد رسول الله. فقلت نعم، إن جدك تحت الكساء. فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جدة يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء؟ فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوضي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معه تحت الكساء. فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أماه. فقلت عليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال لي يا أماه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت نعم، إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء. فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جدة، السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء؟ فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع أمتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معهما تحت الكساء. فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. فقلت عليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين. فقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عم رسول الله. فقلت نعم، ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء. فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال له وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وصي وخليفتي وصاحب لوائي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء. ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بضعتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخلت تحت الكساء. فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ أبي رسول الله بطرف الكساء وأومأ بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وحامة، لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي، يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم. أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم. إنهم مني وأنا منهم، فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم، وأذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. فقال الله عز وجل يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبرائيل: يا ربي ومن تحت الكساء؟ وقال عز وجل: هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة، هم فاطمة وأبوها وبألها وبنوها. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. فقال جبرائيل: يا ربي أتأذن لي أن أحبط إلى الأرض ليكون معهم سادسا؟ فقال الله: نعم، قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال: السلام عليك يا رسول الله، العلي الأعلى يقرئك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك: وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم، وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم، فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله: وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله، إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء فقال لأبيه: إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول: إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. وقال علي لأبي: يا رسول الله، أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي: والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا، ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي: إذا والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال النبي ثانيا: يا علي، والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا، ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفيهم محموم إلا وفرج الله حما، ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غما، ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته. فقال علي: إذا والله فذنا وسعدنا، وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. سورة المباركة الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. وصلى على محمد وآله.
Thank you, Abdul Sendai. The next item on the agenda will be Surah Yasin by Sajjad Khan, please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ياسين والقرآن الحكيم إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما أنذر آباءهم فهم غافلون لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون وسواء عليهم أأنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاء المرسلون إذ أرسلنا إليهم اثنين فكذبوهما فعززنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء إن أنتم إلا تكذبون قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب أليم قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون أأتخذ من دونه آلهة إن يردني الرحمن بضر لا تغني عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون إني إذا لفي ضلال مبين إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون بما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المكرمين وما أنزلنا على قومه من بعده من جند من السماء وما كنا منزلين إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم خامدون يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون ألم يروا كم أهلكنا قبلهم من القرون أنهم إليهم لا يرجعون وإن كل لما جميع لدينا محضرون وآية لهم الأرض الميتة أحييناها وأخرجنا منها حبا فمنه يأكلون وجعلنا فيها جنات من نخيل وأعناب وفجرنا فيها من العيون ليأكلوا من ثمره وما عملت أيديهم أفلا يشكرون سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون وآية لهم الليل نسلخ منه النهار فإذا هم مظلمون والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم والقمر قدرناه منازل حتى عاد كالأرجون القديم لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون وآية لهم أن حملنا ذريتهم في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشأ نغرقهم فلا صريخ لهم ولا هم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاعا إلى حين وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون وما تأتيهم من آية من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا أنطعم من لو يشاء الله أطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في السور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينصلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا محضرون فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إن أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاقهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاقهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أعهد إليكم يا بني آدم ألا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد أضل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تعقلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لطمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنا يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون ومن نؤمره ننكسه في الخلق أفلا يعقلون وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وظللناها لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند محضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم يرى الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحييها الذي أنشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون صدق الله العلي العظيم.
Fatiha. Thank you, Sajad. Can I now please ask Muhammad Mehdi Ismail to recite Surah Mulk for us? Thank you.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور الذي خلق 7 سماوات طباقا ما ترى في خلق الرحمن من تفاوت فارجع البصر هل ترى من فطور ثم ارجع البصر كرتين ينقلب إليك البصر خاسئا وهو حصير ولقد زينا السماء الدنيا بمصابيح وجعلناها رجوما للشياطين وأعتدنا لهم عذاب السعير وللذين كفروا بربهم عذاب جهنم وبئس المصير إذا ألقوا فيها سمعوا لها شهيقا وهي تفور تكاد تميز من الغيظ كلما ألقي فيها فوج سألهم خزنتها ألم يأتكم نذير قالوا بلى قد جاءنا نذير فكذبنا وقلنا ما نزل الله من شيء إن أنتم إلا في ضلال كبير وقالوا لو كنا نسمع أو نعقل ما كنا في أصحاب السعير فاعترفوا بذنبهم فسحقا لأصحاب السعير. إن الذين يخشون ربهم بالغيب لهم مغفرة وأجر كبير. وأسروا قولكم واجهروا به إنه عليم بذات الصدور. ألا يعلم من خلق وهو اللطيف الخبير. هو الذي جعل لكم الأرض ذلولا فامشوا في مناكبها وكلوا من رزقه وإليه النشور. أأمنتم من في السماء أن يخسف بكم الأرض فإذا هي تمور أم أمنتم من في السماء أن يرسل عليكم حاصبا فستعلمون كيف نذير. ولقد كذب الذين من قبلهم فكيف كان نكير. أولم يروا إلى الطير فوقهم صافات ويقبض ما يمسكهن إلا الرحمن إنه بكل شيء بصير. أمن هذا الذي هو جند لكم ينصركم من دون الرحمن إن الكافرون إلا في غرور. أمن هذا الذي يرزقكم إن أمسك رزقه بل لجوا في عتو ونفور. أفمن يمشي مكبا على وجهه أهدى أمن يمشي سويا على صراط مستقيم. قل هو الذي أنشأكم وجعل لكم السمع والأبصار والأفئدة قليلا ما تشكرون. قل هو الذي ذرأكم في الأرض وإليه تحشرون. ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين. قل إنما علم عند الله وإنما أنا نذير مبين. فلما رأوه زلفة سيئت وجوه الذين كفروا وقيل هذا الذي كنتم به تدعون. قل أرأيتم من أهلكني الله ومن معي ورحمنا فمن يجير الكافرين من عذاب أليم. قل هو الرحمن آمنا به وعليه توكلنا فستعلمون من هو في ضلال مبين. قل أرأيتم إن أصبح ماؤكم غورا فمن يأتيكم بماء معين. آمنت بالله وصدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. الفاتحة.
Thank you very much, Muhammad Mehdi. The next item on the agenda will be a marcia by Zishan Lilani, please.
Salvat. अब्बास की बहन को शामी रुला रहे हैं चादर दिखा दिखा के। अब्बास की बहन को शामी रुला रहे हैं चादर दिखा दिखा के। रास्ता बना रही है बिनते अली का फिजा, कांटे हटा हटा के अब्बास की बहन को शामी रुला रहे हैं चादर दिखा दिखा के। परदेस में किसी पर ऐसा न वक्त आए, ना महरमों में कोई यूं बेरिदा न जाए। करते हैं ये दुआएं अहले हरम के बच्चे, झोली उठा उठा के अब्बास की बहन को शामी रुला रहे हैं चादर दिखा दिखा के। भाई बहन की आंखें नम होती जा रही है, बिनते अली की सांसें कम होती जा रही है। खंजर चला रहा है ज़ैनब के दिल पे जालिम, खंजर दिखा दिखा के अब्बास की बहन को शामी रुला रहे हैं चादर दिखा दिखा के। एक बच्ची कह रही है आओ मदद को बाबा, दादी की तरह मैं भी अब हो गई ज़ईफ़ा। जख्मी किया है पहलू ना कैसे जालिमों ने मुझको गिरा गिरा के अब्बास की बहन को शामी रुला रहे हैं चादर दिखा दिखा के। सलवात।
Thank you, Zishan. We now have a small tribute in memory of Marhum Musa Ravji.
On this night, the night of the wafat of Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam, we sorely miss and remember Musa Bhai. The saddest of news was the news that we received that we had lost a pillar in our community. A man who'd always be the first to come towards the Majalis of Ahlul Bayt, the first in the line of Salah, an example for both young and old, and how to be serious but humorous at the same time, how to have a wonderful balance in serving Ahlul Bayt salawatullah wa salamuhu alayhim, as well as being a loving father and a loving family member. He died, but he had looked after so many who had died. Kafan, ghusl, was integral in his service to the community. The first to come to the mosque, be it rain, be it sunshine, be it the worst conditions, be it the best conditions, and always ready to talk with anyone young and old. He was truly an example for all of us. A person who was a mainstay of the Shia community for many years, helping people get to Majalis and Muharram, sitting with them, sharing stories with both the young and the old. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless your soul, Musa Bhai. And may He raise you with the one you love, Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam. And may you receive her shafa'ah on the Day of Judgment. Rahim Allah man qara'a Surah Al-Fatiha.
Sorry, now it's time for tonight's lecture, which is going to be given by a world-renowned scholar, Sheikh Shabir Mehdi. So if I can ask Sheikh to start, please. Thank you.
Fatiha. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين والصلاة والسلام على خير الأنام سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المذلومين المنتخبين المنتجبين الذين كلامهم نور وأمرهم رشد ووسيلتهم التقوى وفعلهم الخير وعادتهم الإحسان وسجيتهم الكرم لا سيما على مهدي هذه الأمة وطاووس أهل الجنة الحجة ابن الحسن العسكري أرواحنا فداء اللهم أجل لوليك الفرج. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala throughout the Holy Quran, something that we also find in the riwayat of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salatu wassalam, is the idea of the certain huquq and rights that exist in this world. For when a person looks at the different rights which exist fi dunya upon the human being, they can say that the rights can be added up to 3 in total. 3 groups of rights that a human being needs to adhere to. And the first of those, of course, is simply the right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon the human being. Haqqullah ala al-abd. For it is this right that necessitates that I worship only Allah Azza wa Jalla. It's this right that necessitates that I have sincerity in my actions and ibadat, and I thank Him for what He has given. The haqq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is I follow that which He has commanded me to follow and stay away from that which He has made haram and prohibited from me to going towards. The second haqq that exists is something which also is quite clear to us, the right of others over us. The haqqun nas, the right of my neighbor, the right of my friend, the right of my family members, the right of my spouse, the people I interact with, the right of those that I work with or those that work under me, the right of those in my community. This is huququn nas. And of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave a lot of importance to adhering to that haqq and the huquq that a person has over another person. The third type of right was the haqq that the human being had upon himself. For we have a number of narrations where we're told, adhere to the right of yourself. Meaning what? Don't be someone that does dhulm towards himself and that oppresses himself by not adhering to the rights of this nafs and this body that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you. And so we have the right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala over the servant, the right of the human beings, some of them upon others, and the right that a person has over himself. For my nafs, my hands, my eyes, my ears may complain on the day of judgment saying that, Ya Allah, you gave us to that person that didn't adhere to our right. For the right of my ear is that I use it in the correct way, not to listen to that which Allah has made haram. The right of my eyes, and they will bear witness against me if I don't adhere to this right of theirs. The right of my eyes is I look at that which is halal. In any case, if we've understood that the rights which exist in this world are three, there's also something very important about these three rights. And that is that these three huquq are all interlinked and interconnected. Meaning that if one is strengthened, it affects the other two. If one is weakened, it affects the others. So for example, if I don't adhere to the right of people, my right and the right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon me is affected. My relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if it is strengthened, causes my relationship with other people and relationship with myself to be strengthened. If my relationship with those around me is a correct one, my relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also is made better. And so all of these three relationships and these three huquq and rights were those that were found in this dunya. If this introduction has been understood, for the short time that we have today, I wish for us to go through and mention a very interesting anecdote mentioned by Ayatollah al-Uzma al-Burujardi. Ayatollah al-Uzma al-Burujardi mentions this story to one of the big teachers who passed away some years ago in Qom, one of the big teachers of the house. He then mentioned it to one of his students, and so I narrate it from him. And Ayatollah Burujardi, this story that he narrates is of one of the Maraji, the last 150 years or so, by the name of Mirza Buzurg Shirazi. Now Mirza Buzurg, who is buried in the shrine of Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. Mirza Buzurg was one of the great students of Sheikh al-A'dham, Sheikh Murtada al-Ansari. All of these great scholars, great fuqaha, they have many works, and they were very influential. And this story, we're told, concerns one of the people that used to work in the office of Ayatollah Mirza Buzurg. Why? Because we're told that Mirza Buzurg, when he came from Iran and moved to Iraq to study and then become a teacher and then become a marja of taqleed in Najaf al-Ashraf, someone had come with him, someone he knew from his hometown in Iran, and that person was someone very close to Mirza Buzurg. Now, naturally, once he became a marja of taqleed and he has an office, he wants those people to work in the office that he can trust, that he knows are reliable, that he's comfortable with, that he's close to. I can't just get a random person on the street who I don't know. Are they trustworthy? Are they reliable? This person, I know him well. Of course, I'm going to make him be part of my office. So this individual, whose name we don't know, and whose name is not important to the story, this person was very close to Ayatollah al-Uzma Mirza Buzurg. He's very close to Mirza Buzurg. He works in the office. He's like the right-hand man. He takes care of many of the affairs of the office. And one thing that was very important about him is that he was very trustworthy, especially when it came to amanat and money. For we find several riwayat from the Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. He says, don't look at the long sujood and prostration and ruku of someone. When a person does long sujood and you think that they're good. Or when a person does long ruku and salah, you think that they're the best of mu'min. He says, don't just look at that. Look at their sidq wa ada'ihi lil amana. Look at the truth of that person and whether they adhere to the amanat that people give them and pay back the amanat that people entrust them with. The good thing about this mu'min believer was that he was very trustworthy when it came to amanat and these things. In any case, we're told that because of this, when someone has a certain amount of money that they wish to keep with someone as safekeeping, they would ask Mirza Buzurg, who is of course the marja. The marja would say, this friend of mine, who works in my office, who I've known for years, this friend of mine is trustworthy, give your amanat to him. And so right enough, we're told that he would have a big collection of amanat that people gave to him, and they had 100% trust in him. 100% trust that whatever we give him, he's going to give it back to us safely, especially because the marja of taqleed has recommended him. If that has been understood, then we're told that a group of Zawar, they came from Iran. Maybe they came from Tabriz, if I'm not mistaken. They come from Iran, Tabriz, to Najaf al-Ashraf. But the actual destination, the reason why they left Tabriz wasn't just Najaf al-Ashraf and the ziyarah of Amir al-Mu'mineen and the other A'imma in Iraq. The reason why they had left is that they wished to perform Hajj. And at that time, being able to travel wasn't as easy as it is today. It takes a number of months to travel. It's very difficult. You have to have a lot of things with you. And so naturally, if we know that we're going to Hajj from Iran, and we first want to go to Iraq and do the ziyarat of the Imam alayhi salatu wassalam, we're going to take precaution. Naturally, we'll make sure that we have enough money with us. And so they had money that they had bought with them to ensure that they have enough money to survive on this ship. Also, for one reason or another. Now, Sayyid Burujardi didn't mention what the reason was, and perhaps we don't know what the reason was, but they also had a lot of extra money with them. Sometimes I have wealth with me for the trip. Sometimes I have a gift someone gave me, a sort of business deal they had to do, whatever it may have been, but they had a large amount of money with them. Now, once they've got to Najaf al-Ashraf and after the ziyarah of Amir al-Mu'mineen, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. After performing the ziyarah, they said, let's go to visit our marja. So they went to visit Ayatollah Mirza Buzurg. They said, number one, we've come here to do ziyarah of ulama. If you have a true pious mukhlis alim, doing the ziyarah of that alim who is a alim Rabbani, has a lot of benefit to a person's soul, encourages a person to wish to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Says, we first wish to come and visit you and see you and benefit from you. Secondly, Ya Sayyid, we're going soon to Hajj. The problem is we have a lot of wealth with us. Now, the wealth that we have with us, if we take it with us, there you have Ihram, there you have Sa'i, there you have Arafat, there you have Mina. Who knows where we're going to keep the money? Who knows what's going to happen? It's very easy that it can be stolen. It's very easy it can be lost. Bell, even going to Hijaz with that money, there could be danger on the way, on our return, whatever it may be. And because this is such a large amount of money, we don't want to risk it. So, Ya Sayyid, can you give us a place where we can keep it with someone here in Najaf who you trust and we have your guarantee? Mirza Buzurg says, no problem. There is a very close friend of mine that I have known for years. For years I've known him. Meaning what? Meaning I know the intricacies of his character. When you know someone for such a long time, you spend so much time with them day in, day out, you know his character, you know whether he's adil, is he trustworthy, does he lie, does he do this, does he pray on time, does he delay his prayers, everything. So he said, go to that person, he works in my office, he's my friend for a number of years, give him that amount of money. They went, they entrusted it, he wrote the name down, he said, no problem, when you come back from Hajj, this will be waiting for you. Ayatollah Burujardi says those people then performed Hajj Baytullah. Of course, a number of months it took for them to get there and return. When they came back again, they went to do ziyarah of Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. They came straight to the marja. They welcomed him. The marja of Taqleed says, by the way, there's some news. What's the news? Said the news is that that friend of mine who you had given money, Al-Amin, he's passed away. Since the time that you left, since then he's passed away. So what are they thinking? All of the amanat. The son will take it, the granddaughter will take it, the grandson will take it, the nephew will take it, the brother will take it. Who knows what's happened to all of that one? So Mirza Buzurg says, don't worry about the amanat. For because he was known for this, he wrote in his will that he has a list. And that list mentions every amana that he's ever been given, those which are still with him. Anyone who has their amana, had given their amana to him, can come and get it. So don't worry about that. Your amana is safe. It's going to be with him or with his sons. So they were relieved. They went to the next of kin of the deceased. They went to him. They asked him, the sons, The son says, yes, of course, we have everything with us. You come and tell us your name, we'll give you that amount. So they said, is this amount of money, this many tuman, this many ashrafi, whatever it was. Number one, it was a very large number, as I said. Number two, when they mentioned this is our name and this is our amana, he brings out a box. He brings out a box with all of the amanat that his father had left. And he says, let's look through here. It should be here. They look through everything. They don't find it. He says, can you look again? Can you look a third time? You know, in those situations, you try and look as many times as you can. Maybe I'm forgetful. Maybe I've not seen something properly. They looked a number of times, nothing. So where did they go? The one that told us to come here, they went straight to him. What did they think? They thought the person that's died, he took it for himself. These other amanat weren't as much as ours. This is, for example, £2,000, £100, 300. That was, let's say, 500,000. So of course he's going to take that and leave these ones so that people think he's trustworthy. No, the billah. They went to Mirza Buzurg. They said, this has happened. Mirza says, look, I know that person 100%. He wouldn't have taken your money. Maybe it's been misplaced, but he hasn't taken it. There's a solution to this. And from here, this is why I mentioned this story today, because we're remembering a deceased. He said, when a person passes away, where do they go? When a person passes away, they of course go to the stage of barzakh. وَمِنْ وَرَائِهِمْ بَرْزَخٌ إِلَىٰ يَوْمِ يُبْعَثُونَ. Barzakh, that place between this world and the next, or some said it was part of this world, but of course there was a veil, there was a barrier where I can't see those people in barzakh. And as we know, when a person has committed acts of obedience, of ita'ah, their body and their body may stay here, but their soul goes to Wadi Salam in Najaf al-Ashraf. And if a person has committed acts of disobedience and sin, their soul is taken to Wadi al-Barhut near Yemen, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent adhab on the people of Ad and Thamud. And there they, for example, are punished. In fact, we have the narration where Amir al-Mu'mineen, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa with his companions, is in Wadi al-Salam, in that cemetery that most of us, when we visit Najaf al-Ashraf, we go there. The companions were waiting there. They got tired. They had to sit down. They saw that Amir al-Mu'mineen is standing and speaking, but we can't see who he's speaking to. We see him standing and conversing with some people. We don't know who they are. Until after a long time, we came to him. We said, Ya Abul Hasan, what are you doing here? Who are you speaking to? So he would tell them, you can't see, but I am speaking to the souls that are in Wadi Salam, i.e. the barzakh. So we can't see it. But behind us, there is a veil where if that veil was lifted, we could see all of the souls. We'd see the souls of our loved ones, the souls of the scholars, the souls of the Anbiya, barzakh. And so Amir al-Mu'mineen often would go there and speak to the arwah, which of course, me and you wouldn't be able to necessarily see. Mirza Buzurg says, no problem. He was such a good mu'min that I know he'll be where? In Wadi al-Salam. Go to Wadi al-Salam and call out his name a few times. Recite this. He gave them something to recite. Mention X, Y, Z. If he is there, his soul will come to you. If he is there, his soul will come to you. And we know he's there. He's a pious person. His soul will come to you. Ask him where the money is, and he'll tell you. So Mirza Buzurg is saying it. They accepted what he said. They wrote down what he told them to recite and what to say. They went there. They went to Wadi Salam. They called out his name. Nothing. They came back. Mirza Buzurg says, no problem. Try again a second time. They tried. For a number of days, they would go daily. This is our life savings. We can't get back to Tabriz if we don't have this money. There will be dhararun azim, great harm to us. So they tried until someone said, maybe he isn't in Wadi al-Salam. Maybe he's in Wadi al-Barhut. So Mirza Buzurg says, how could it be that he's in Wadi al-Barhut and not in Wadi al-Salam? When I know everything that he's done. The idea is that the ulama tell us, riwayat speak about this idea that when a person dies, they still need our help. They need our du'as. The deceased for whom this majlis is for, was one of the purest mu'minin. Still, however, we need to ensure that we help the marhumin out with sadaqah, with majalis. We still need to help. And we still need to have a connection with those that have passed away. And we still need to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to shower His mercy on those that have passed. When a person dies, he still needs help from his family members, his loved ones. This person was a mu'min. They said he's not there in Wadi al-Salam, he must be in Wadi al-Barhut. So they traveled then, these people. Of course, it's for a lot of money. If it wasn't that much, maybe they would have left it. They traveled all the way to Wadi al-Barhut near Yemen. They entered, they recited the same thing that Mirza Buzurg had told them. And when they recited it this time, they saw in front of them a soul. And it was obvious that this soul was going through some sort of adhab and punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At which moment, what happened? They asked him, who are you? He said, I'm that same person. They were shocked. Before, he was looking completely different. They were shocked. He said to them that your money, because it was more than all of the other amanat, 5,200, 300, 500, yours was 500,000, let's say. I was scared that if I leave it there, maybe my children will become greedy and take that aman. So I kept that separate from all other amanat and I didn't write it in the list. If you want your amana, go to my house, go to the garden. There's a tree there. I've buried it right next to the tree. So they went back to Najaf al-Ashraf. They were thankful. They told Mirza Buzurg. Mirza Buzurg was shocked. He was shocked as to how is it that this mu'min who was so pure ended up in Wadi al-Barhut. In any case, those people, they went. They told the son dug up the tree and they found him. Mirza Buzurg now is worried about his friend. He's worried about his friend. So he asked the people in Najaf al-Ashraf, was there anyone who was upset with the marhum? Most people said no, he was a pious person. He was so well known. He was so trustworthy. One person came and said, yes, I'm upset. In fact, they asked around, one person was very upset. So Mirza Buzurg called that person to his office. That person came. Mirza Buzurg said, what's the issue? Why are you upset with this deceased? He said, because I am a butcher. Mirza Buzurg, your friend used to get his meat from this other butcher who is local to him. I'm far away. He used to get his meat from this local butcher. He said, yes, Mirza Buzurg said, yes, I know he would get it from him. He says, what happened is I have a daughter who wishes to get married. This butcher had a son. I wished to get married to, I wished my daughter to get married to the son of that butcher. So when I asked and I proposed and I asked for my daughter to get married to his son, who did that butcher ask? He asked your friend. When he asked your friend didn't say that I'm a bad person. You know, what happened is this butcher who's upset with the friend of Mirza Buzurg, once he gave him meat and it turned out to be not as fresh, not on purpose. He gave him something, it turned out to be not as good. Because of that, the friend of Mirza Buzurg wasn't really that happy with that butcher. He said, look at him, look, I went to buy meat from him. This is what he gave me, unintentionally. He says that when I asked for my daughter's hand in marriage with that person's son, that person, he asked your friend. Recommendation, how are they? Are they a good family? How are they? Are they trustworthy? Your friend didn't say that I'm a bad person or my family isn't good. He said, however, in such a way, he says, I don't know. But he said, I don't know in such a way as if he was saying, don't ask me about them. And so that person took it to be negative. Because of the way in which he responded, don't ask me about them. He took it to be negative and he rejected the proposal. That's why I'm upset with this friend of yours. Mirza Buzurg says, is your daughter married? Did she end up getting married? He says, no, she's still not married. So Mirza Buzurg says, if I get your daughter married to a mu'min, will you forgive my friend? He said, yes. Mirza Buzurg gets him married to a mu'min brother, gets married to the daughter of this butcher, and then Mirza Buzurg sends someone to Wadi Salam. They recite the same thing that Mirza Buzurg had said. This time when they recite it and call out the name of his friend, they see him with nur covering his face. And he thanks Mirza Buzurg and he says, for that one mistake, after everything I did, that one mistake, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, I have to punish you. Why? Because I said there were 3 types of huquq, 3 types of rights. The haqq and the relationship of Allah with me, that I don't do shirk, I worship him, I adhere to what he's told me. The second is the relationship that I have with those around me. This person was very trustworthy, but his tongue wasn't correct, that he ended up hurting and damaging someone else. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punished. And the third was the relationship I have with myself. And I said, all of these are interconnected. All of these are interconnected. The point of this story was that whoever it is who has passed away, we should always ensure to try as much as we can to ask the people to forgive. Sometimes maybe they've performed mistakes we didn't know about, they weren't aware of. No matter what happens when a person passes away, these type of majalis, the recitations we do, are very important to ensure that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy showers upon those that have left this world. And the marhum was someone that I have known since I was very young. In fact, from the earliest that I can remember, whenever I would see him, either he's standing in the prayers for Salatul Jama'ah, or he is attending a majlis, or we used to see him in the graveyard visiting those that have passed away. And without a doubt, I know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will have given him, with the sake of the service of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salatu wasalam that he did, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have given him a lofty status with the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salatu wasalam that he served. You know, whenever I used to see him, I still remember the odd occasion I, for example, would, after I moved to Iran, the odd occasion I would visit Haidari or see him anywhere else. As soon as I would enter, without any exaggeration, as soon as I enter, as soon as he realizes whatever he is doing, the first person to come up, he's the age of my grandfather, elder than my grandfather, but the first to come and say salam and ask how I was and show respect was dear marhum. In fact, whenever I had then would meet him after I moved to Iran, when I would come back in the summers, for example, and see him, the last time I remember was maybe 1.5 years ago. Whenever I would see him, he would always ask, you know, how are studies, how are things in Qom. He'd always say one thing to me, and I know this from those that know him, this habit of his. He would always tell me that, you know, he would ask me sometimes, he would say, I wake up at this time and I'm reciting these things in the middle of the night, and what's good for me to recite, and should I recite this and should I recite that? And I could tell the amount of ibadah he does during the night time. When people were asleep, he would wake up and he would ensure that he's able to perform that Salatul Layl. And one thing that I think was very important, and it's important for people to realize the importance of this, was that he would always tell me, he said, even though we don't see you and I haven't seen you and you're in Qom, he says, I always remember you in my dua and Salatul Layl. And this was the most important thing for me. And sometimes people don't take importance or give importance for the dua of a buzurg, of someone that is old, the dua of someone who has white hair. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives a lot of barakah to people, and we missed out on the dua of marhum that he would do in the night time. Someone who would selflessly work for Ahlul Bayt alayhim salatu wasalam, show his kindness to all groups of people. As I said, I was much younger than him, the age of his grandchildren, yet still he would always show a lot of encouragement and respect. And I'm sure that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant him a lofty status, and this majlis, inshallah, and the thawab of this majlis will, inshallah, increase his status even more. But I tell him, I say, Ya marhum, when you used to do your Salatul Layl, at least you would have water with you. At least you don't have chains on your neck and shoulders. At least you were able to comfortably recite the ziyarat and the supplications that you recite. But come and see Zainab al-Kubra alayhi salam. For Zainab Salamullahi alayha also would never leave her Salatul Layl. In fact, Imam Hussein Salamullahi alayhi would request her and say, Zainab, when you pray your Salatul Layl, don't forget me in your dua. But there was a difference, because when Zainab Salamullahi alayha would pray her Salatul Layl, Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salatu wasalam would ask her. He would say, oh my auntie, why is it that you pray sitting down instead of praying standing up? She would say, Ya Sayyid al-Sajideen, there is so little food and water given to us in the prisons of Sham, that all of it goes to the children, and so no food and water is given to me. And so with the weakness that is in my body, Zainab says I couldn't pray standing up, I would pray sitting down. And how has Sayyida Zainab prayed? In which places has she prayed her salah? For in one occasion between Kufa and Sham, Imam Zainul Abidin says, I would leave my tent. These individuals, this is why Sayyidul Sajideen was called Zainul Abidin, for he prays his salah and he does sajda to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the most difficult of situations. Imam Zainul Abidin says, I came out of my tent with chains on my shoulders. My hands were covered in the shackles of Umar bin Sa'd. I came out of the tent and I raised my hands and said, Allahu Akbar. When suddenly Umar bin Sa'd and the others came out of their tent, they realized Imam Zainul Abidin is praying his salah. They said, don't allow him to pray his salah. Start to hit him and beat him so he's unable to pray his salah. And who would hear this from inside the tent? Zainab al-Masaib. Sayyida Zainab suddenly stands up. She tells Kulthum, Fidda, the other women, come and surround the son of Abu Abdullah, our Imam. And so Zainab would come and protect him from one side, Fidda from the other side, Kulthum from another. And so whenever they would try to hit Zainul Abidin, Zainab says, I would put my body in front so that I can protect the Imam and our master. Until then it would continue like this, with our bodies covered in the chains of these people, until a time would come where Zainab would leave Kufa and Sham, and as they would enter into Medina, she says, I would tell Sayyidul Sajideen, oh my nephew, tell the poet Bishr to announce that we have entered back into Medina. Bishr would recite, Ya ahla Yathrib la muqam lakum biha, قتل الحسين فأدمئي مدرار. People of Medina, how will you live in Medina? Hussein has been killed and tears flow from my eyes. Zainab says, I would go to the grave of my grandfather Rasulullah. Assalamu alayka ya Jadda, Salla alayka Malikus Sama. Ya Rasulullah, if there were not people surrounding me, I would show you the marks on my chest and on my shoulders. Then Zainab would enter into her house, crying and lamenting for Hussein and Abu al-Fadl and Shuhada of Karbala. When suddenly Abdullah enters into the house, the husband of Sayyida Zainab, Abdullah says, he says, oh woman, my respect and salutations to you. If you wish to mourn Hussein, mourn him anywhere in Medina, but this is the house of Zainab al-Kubra. Zainab says, I looked at him, I said, Abdullah, what has Karbala done to me? What has Kufan Shai done to me? Did you not recognize Ana Zainab al-Kubra? My hair back has become bent, my hair has become white. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the short dhikr of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam that has been done to increase the lofty status of Marhum Janab Musa Ravji and grant him the intercession of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam to forgive his sins and to give all of his family members and those that knew him and loved him, to give all of them patience and sabr. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Ya Hussein.
Thank you, Sheikh, for a most thought-provoking and very informative majlis. We shall now proceed with the Nauha by Brother Amir Raza. Thank you.
Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. Jab rida sare se chini, main sada deti rahi, tu na aaya ghazi. Jab rida sare se chini, main sada deti rahi, تو نہ آیا غازی. آل عمران نے کہا اور زندہ نے کہا یہ بہن قید ہوئی تو نہ آیا غازی. جب ردا سر سے چھنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی. ہم کو پانی نہ ملے تیری خوشبو تو رہے, تیرے بازو نہ کٹے چاہے مشکیزہ چھدے, یہ مگر ہو نہ سکا تیرے بازو ہے جدا. مجھ پہ تشنا نبی تو نہ آیا غازی. جب ردا سر سے چھنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی. دھوپ میں تو تھا شجر تجھ سے آباد تھا گئے, ہے برہنا میرا سے کیا نہیں تجھ کو خبر, ہے علمدار وفا اس بہن کو باخدا. تجھ سے دارست تھی بری تو نہ آیا غازی. جب ردا سر سے چھنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی. آ گئی شام علم ٹوٹ گئے اہل حرم, حیرت پر جلتی ہوئی ہو گیا ٹھنڈا علم. گھڑسا دینے کے لیے مجھ سے ملنے کے لیے آ گئے بابا علی تو نہ آیا غازی. جب ردا سر سے چھنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی. کیا کہوں شیر میرے دام کو لیے یہ مسلمان سارے شہر در شہر گئے, خلقت کو پا کبھی خلقت شام کبھی اور ہم پہ ہنسی تو نہ آیا غازی جب ردا سر سے چھنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی کتنی بے بسی تھی بہن اے شہنشاہ وفا اے نام لے لے کے میرا جب یہ ظالم نے کہا ناز تھا جس پہ تجھے اب بلاؤ نہ اسے اور میں روتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی جب ردا سر سے چھنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی قید خانے پہ قضا جب سکینہ کو ملی ہے لے کے کرتے کا کفن کچی دفنائی گئی اس گری نام تیرا صورت ناد علی دکھ میں دوہراتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی جب ردا سر سے چھنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی رویا ریحان قلم کر کے یہ بات رقم خون میں ڈوب گیا میرے غازی کا علم زخمی زینب کے جگر خوب شاشا کا سیر آئے خیموں میں سکی تو نہ آیا غازی جب سر سے چھنی میں صدا دیتی تو نہ آیا غازی آل عمران کہاں اور زندان کہاں یہ بہن قید ہوئی تو نہ آیا غازی جب ردا سر سے چھنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی ہے جب ردا سر سے چھنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی تو نہ آیا غازی سورۃ مبارکۃ
Thank you, Brother Amir Raza. Can I now request Brother Ali Riley to recite Ziyarat Ashura for us, please?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليك يا رسول الله السلام عليك يا نبي الله السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين سيد الوصيين السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين وابن سيد الوصيين. السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا خيرة الله وابن خيرته. السلام عليك يا ثار الله وابن ثاري والوتر الموتور. السلام عليك وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار. يا أبا عبد الله لقد عظمت الرزية وجلت وعظمت المصيبتك بك علينا وعلى جميع أهل الإسلام، وجلت وعظمت مصيبتك في السماوات على جميع أهل السماوات. فلعن الله أمة أسست أساس الظلم والجور عليكم أهل البيت، ولعن الله أمة دفعتكم عن مقامكم وأزالتكم عن مراتبكم التي رتبكم الله فيها. ولعن الله أمة قتلتكم، ولعن الله الممهدين لهم بالتمكين من قتالكم. بريت إلى الله وإليكم منهم ومن أشياعهم وأتباعهم وأوليائهم. يا أبا عبد الله إني سلم لمن سالمكم وحرب لمن حاربكم إلى يوم القيامة. ولعن الله آل زياد وآل مروان، ولعن الله بني أمية قاطبة، ولعن الله بن مرجانة، ولعن الله عمر بن سعد، ولعن الله شمران، ولعن الله أمة أسرجت وألجمت وتنقبت لقتالك بأبي أنت وأمي. لقد عظم مصابي بك، فأسأل الله الذي أكرم مقامك وأكرمني بك أن يرزقني طلب ثارك مع إمام منصور من أهل بيت محمد صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم اجعلني عندك وجيها بالحسين عليه السلام في الدنيا والآخرة. يا أبا عبد الله إني أتقرب إلى الله وإلى رسوله وإلى أمير المؤمنين وإلى فاطمة وإلى الحسن وإليك بموالاتك وبالبراءة ممن قاتلك ونصب لك الحرب، وبالبراءة ممن أسس أساس الظلم والجور عليكم. وأبرأوا إلى الله وإلى رسوله ممن أسس أساس ذلك وبنى عليه بنيانه وجرى في ظلمه وجوره عليكم وعلى أشياعكم. برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم وأتقرب إلى الله ثم إليكم بموالاتكم وموالاة وليكم. وبالبراءة من أعدائكم والناصبين لكم الحرب، وبالبراءة من أشياعهم وأتباعهم. إني سلم لمن سالمكم وحرب لمن حاربكم وولي لمن والاكم وعدو لمن عاداكم، فأسأل الله الذي أكرمني بمعرفتكم ومعرفة أوليائكم ورزقني البراءة من أعدائكم أن يجعلني معكم في الدنيا والآخرة، وأن يثبت لي عندكم قدم صدق في الدنيا والآخرة، وأسأله أن يبلغني المقام المحمود الذي لكم عند الله، وأن يرزقني طلب ثاري مع إمام مهدي ظاهر ناطق بالحق منكم، وأسأل الله بحقكم وبالشأن الذي لكم عنده أن يعطيني بمصابي بكم أفضل ما يعطي مصابا بمصيبته، مصيبة ما أعظمها وأعظم رزيتها في الإسلام وفي جميع السماوات والأرض. اللهم اجعلني في مقامي هذا ممن تناله منك صلوات ورحمة ومغفرة. اللهم اجعل محياي محيا محمد وآل محمد، ومماتي ممات محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إن هذا يوم تبركت به بنو أمية وبنو آكلة الأكباد، اللعين ابن اللعين على لسانك ولسان نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله في كل موطن وموقف وقف فيه نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم لعن أبا سفيان ومعاوية ويزيد بن معاوية عليهم منك اللعنة أبد الآبدين. وهذا يوم فرحت به آل زياد وآل مروان بقتلهم الحسين صلوات الله عليه. اللهم فضاعف عليهم اللعنة منك والعذاب الأليم. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك في هذا اليوم وفي موقفي هذا وأيام حياتي بالبراءة منهم واللعنة عليهم وبالموالاة لنبيك وآل نبيك عليهم السلام. اللهم لعن أول ظالمين ظلم حق محمد وآل محمد وآخر تابع له على ذلك. اللهم لعن العصابة التي جاهدت الحسين وشايعت وبايعت وتابعت على قتله. اللهم لعنهم جميعا. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين، خصوصا سيدنا ومولاي أبو الفضل العباس وأختك زينب وأم كلثوم وبنتك سكينة. السلام عليكم يا شهداء كربلاء وعثراء كربلاء جميعا تعالى ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي. السلام عليك يا مولانا يا صاحب الزمان خليفة الرحمن إمام الإنس والجان عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم خص أنت أولى ظالم بالله مني وبدأ به أول ثم الثاني والثالث والرابع. اللهم لن يزيد خامسا ولعن عبيد الله بن زياد وبن مرجانة وعمر بن سعد وشمران وآل أبي سفيان وآل زياد وآل مروان إلى يوم القيامة. سجدة. اللهم لك الحمد حمد الشاكرين لك على مصابهم. الحمد لله على عظيم رزيتي. اللهم ارزقني شفاعة الحسين يوم الورود وثبت لي قدم صدق عندك مع الحسين وأصحاب الحسين الذين بذلوا مهجهم دون الحسين عليه السلام.
Thank you, Ali. We shall now have a short dua by Ali Abbas Ravji.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma kullawlikal hujjatni al-Hassan salawatuka alayhi wa ala bahe fi haze saate fi kulli sa waliyan wa hafiza wa khadidan wa nasra wa taliya wa aina hatta tusnuhu az-zakata wa matiyahu fiha tawila Rahman salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Thank you to all the reciters in tonight's program. Imam Ali alayhi salam has said, live amongst people in such a manner that if you are alive, they crave for your company, and if you die, they weep over you. And my father-in-law, Marhum Musa Ravji, was such a person. He dedicated his life to serving the community and following in the path of the 14 Masumin. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raise his position in the hereafter. Can we just have one more Surah Fatiha for Marhum Musa Ravji, please? And finally, the family of the Marhum would like to thank all those individuals who have sent their condolences and words of sympathy. We really appreciate all your efforts. A big thank you once again to all the reciters who have taken part in tonight's program. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you all abundantly. Thank you for joining us this evening, and inshallah we'll see you soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.